Hey guys, long time no see. Rare Toy Story here. I don't make content, videos, whatever, very often, and I wasn't even planning on doing anything for this. Like, I was thinking, like, I could make because the Toy Story 5 trailer came out today, and I was like, I could make a reaction video, but it's like, I don't really do anything, make videos or anything anymore. Hardly at all. So I'm like, nah, I guess I won't. I don't need to. And then I watched it, and I have a lot to say about it because it's like I had no idea what to expect, and I was like, it's just probably gonna be, just more Toy Story. Probably nothing too crazy or too probably not too much to talk about. I don't know, but it's pretty wild, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen it and you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot to talk about here. So, I guess I'm just gonna kind of, I don't know, I guess I'll play through the trailer and just kind of talk about it.
Do you Forky take Karen Beverly to be your beloved bride? Yeah!
Okay, so we knew there would be some kind of wedding between Forky and Karen, because that was in like a poster that came out recently. But like, literally like 5 seconds into the trailer, we're already hit with something really crazy. Like, this shocked me. Uh, so, despite Toy Story not having anything to do with weird artistic art styles like Spider Verse, Pixar has hopped on this trend and technically did it in their own way. Um, that sort of thing, which I'm sure is going to have a lot of mixed opinions. I think it's a little jarring, especially like since we've never seen this before from Toy Story. Um, this is a little weird. I'm assuming it's just gonna be for this one scene and that's it, or maybe that's how all of maybe there'll be multiple scenes of Bonnie playing with her toys, depicting it in the same style. I don't know. It's a little weird. It just feels like Pixar's making an excuse to hop on this trend, which, fair enough. I guess it works. I guess it makes sense just because it's like, well, this is their imaginations. Uh, the only problem is, of course, that's not really consistent with the other movies, how they depicted, like Andy playing with his toys. It didn't show it in this weird art style. But it looks cool. It's very much like a painted storybook kind of look. It's gonna take some getting used to. This is a little weird, um, but it's something new, something fresh, something that we haven't seen before, and I think it. While it's important not to go too far from the original source material, the original style of the how the movies were before. I think it is good to keep things fresh and not just do the exact same thing over and over. Something to keep it interesting, and that does this. It works. Um, yeah. So let's keep going.
I now pronounce you husband and knife.
Husband and knife. We got dad jokes. It's a little funny, but a little on the nose.
Who poisoned the maid of honor? Bonnie, there's a package for you.
Bonnie is now, I believe, 8 years old, which wasn't she like 3 before? So unlike Toy Story 4, not really going farther in time. There wasn't really a time jump, or at least much of one between 4 and 3. This one did make a pretty significant time jump. Um, it's been 7 years, which is crazy. I realized that the other day. I'm like, it was 7 years since Toy Story 4. That's insane. But, um, yeah, seven. 2019 was already 7 years ago. That's crazy. Um, and while this probably, is about 5 years ahead, it works pretty well. And yeah, it is a little weird to see Bonnie older, but you know, I'm glad they're not just staying in the same time, because that's one thing that bothered me about Toy Story 4. It's like every Toy Story movie except that one like has at least somewhat of a jump ahead in time. Like even Toy Story 2, Andy was still a little older.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lily Pad. Let's play.
Extinction!
Okay, so we see plenty of the characters back, you know, Andy and Bonnie's toys. You know, of course, you know, we knew a lot of them would return. At least Andy's toys. I mean, of course, Bonnie's would be there too, but got a Roomba, the vacuum thing. Interesting. This shot kind of bothered me a little bit, where she's on the floor and you see her dad on her phone. It almost is it just me, or does it look like a commercial, like a one of those weirdly animated, like where everything looks kind of flat? You know what I mean? Um, like a Grubhub ad. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know. There's just something a little weird about some of these shots.
Bunny, screen time's over now.
Okay.
I want to talk to you,
In Jessie's dialogue, the way she says it seemed very weird. Like she says it very robotic. She's like, "I want to talk to you, device." Like, I don't know. Maybe it just has something to do with what's her name? Joan Cusack. Maybe she's just, you know, getting kind of a little older now, so it's the voices are just gonna sound a little off. I don't know. Jessie's got a little bit of a redesign in the face, I think. You know, I definitely noticed that when we first saw her on the poster, one of the posters, maybe also in the teaser trailer. But yeah, they definitely Disney-ified her a little bit, which wasn't necessary, but it's subtle enough that it still looks like her. But you can kind of tell, like if you're used to seeing her face, she definitely looks a little different. I don't know. I'm not sure I hate it. It's just a little different. I don't know.
Extinction! Not again!
Extinction, not again. Like that made me kind of cringe a little. It's like, oh, you get it, because he's a dinosaur, so he's gonna make a dinosaur joke. I don't know. Like, uh, I don't know. In the first movie, how many dinosaur jokes did he make? I mean, he did make some, but I don't know.
Screen time's over now.
It just feels very Flanderized, you know, very one note. Like, oh, Rex is a dinosaur, so any line he has, it's got to be about making a joke about him being a dinosaur. It's like his character can't go any further than that. Which, one nice thing about his character, how it was originally designed, was he wasn't one note. He was like, oh, I'm afraid of things. You know, he was based a little bit on what's his name from Back to the Future. You know, some of his lines are literal direct quotes from that. You know, I don't like confrontations is actually I referenced Back to the Future.
Okay.
I want to talk to you, device.
Please, call me Lily.
Me and the toys have been working all summer.
Yeah, so I feel like some of the toys are missing. Like, where in the heck are Peas in a Pod? They weren't in Toy Story 4 except for like 3 frames in the credits, which is weird. Like that's just something they don't really address. Is like, why are some toys just not there? Like they just once in a while appear randomly. It's a little weird, isn't it? And maybe Pixar's like, well, we don't want to have too many characters all the time, just because like that's a little overwhelming, and it is, but it is a little weird. Like, where are they? Now, given that 5 years have passed, you know, I believe that's how long it was. Where am I going with this? You know, maybe some of the toys got donated or sold since then, which is a little depressing, a little bit of a repeat of Toy Story 3, where, well, a lot of Andy got rid of a lot of his toys, but, you know, of course, Bonnie, you know, she's still a kid, you know, she's not going to get rid of all her toys yet, but some of the more baby toys, like, she might have got rid of Peas in a Pod since then. you know, some of the other ones. I can't even remember who all. I have not been uh, focused on Toy Story lately, like I used to be. So I'm like, my brain isn't even there to like think who all's even missing. It's weird. Um,
Try and get Bonnie to make friends,
Yeah.
but then you had to ruin it.
it's a little weird seeing Jessie with a badge. Like that's just her look now. I guess she's just had it this whole time for 5 years, you know. Bonnie was just never like, oh, I'm just gonna always have this on you, even though it wasn't yours. I don't know. It's a little weird. Does Bonnie even know that Woody's gone? How did that work? You know, Bonnie just doesn't care. I don't know if I thought about that. I like Bullseye's expression. He's like angry. You know, we don't hardly see Bullseye having any other emotions other than just like sad or happy, you know. And it reminds me of like the early versions when they were working on Toy Story 2. I think he was going to be a lot more expressive. Um, I mean, he was originally going to talk, which is a little would have been weird. But
You're
yeah.
not even listening to me.
I'm always listening. See?
Now look here. Me and the toys have been working all summer.
Now in Spanish.
Con los gemelos por
What?
Yeah, I got dibs on behind the dresser.
I got dibs on his hat.
Woody.
This is cool. So, you know, we've all been wondering how in the world are they going to even get a hold of Woody? Well, apparently they have communications through walkie-talkies, even though they definitely did not set that up in the quick time that Woody changed, you know, decided to go with Bo. So it's feels a little bit of cheating, you know, unless we find out that somehow he dropped them off at their house or something after that or something. I don't know, but it is a nice way to do it, you know, because it's like, how in the world are we gonna make Toy Story 4 feel meaningful if we're just gonna bring Woody right back? Because you know, you can't have Toy Story 5 without Woody. You just can't. It's Toy Story. So they kind of wrote themselves in a corner. And I think the solution is about as good as they could have done. You don't have us away from Woody in this movie, but you set the movie long enough, give them a long enough time away from Woody, the characters themselves, that it's still meaningful to the characters, that it's a reunion for them. Even though Woody's still back again right now in this movie, it's still like, well, for them it's been 5 years, you know. So that's kind of cool. I like how they handled that.
Is it as bad out there for toys as they say it is?
We're finding more abandoned toys each.
Okay, so I didn't even notice Duke was there. That's cool. You know, which makes sense, of course. You know, and you know, it's awesome to see Bo back. You know, which, you know, it would be weird if she wasn't back in any way. I'm assuming she's not gonna have a huge role in this. I'm not sure if when Woody returns, Bo's gonna join him at all. Oh, that would be really nice. I hope they do. I kind of don't think. I think Bo's just gonna stay on her own because that's her character. But that's kind of boring. I would love for Bo to, at least at some point in the movie, catch up with them and she can be on the adventure with them. You know, because that's one thing that's really frustrating me about the character in Toy Story 4 of Bo, is just how she never wants to be with the toys. She just wants to be on her own. Like that wasn't her character before Toy Story 4. They completely changed her character, and I don't know. It's a weird direction to go with it, but you know, I think it's just Disney pushing that, like, oh, females are awesome, and you know, they don't need no men, or you know.
Stay.
Tex invaded our house too.
I don't know, Jesse. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
I'm losing Bonnie to the
It feels a little. The trailer's a little more fast paced than I would like. Like, I think it would have been a much more solid, effective trailer if they didn't have anything else that was before this part of Jesse talking to Woody. I think if they would have started the trailer out with that, it would have been a lot more effective, because people are like, all wondering, how is Woody back, how's that going to work? So if they would have opened with that and had this nice slow reveal of like, oh, this is how they do it, you would have been able to take it in a little bit more, been a lot more meaningful and impactful. This just feels a little bit like, oh, here you go, here's how Woody comes into this. It's like, oh, okay. And of course, you can't have new music. It's just got to be You Got a Friend in Me, and it's got to be this dramatic music, because the original isn't good enough or something. I don't know. It it just feels a little too on the nose, a little too, like, we're just so used to that whenever sequels or reboots or remakes or whatever come out anymore. They just always take the classic song and they gotta make this big dramatic version of it, which, for what it is fun. It is a little epic, but it does feel so much like, oh, we're just putting it in here because that's the Toy Story song, and there's no depth to it. It's just as simple as that, which is fine, I guess. But I like the poncho. We did know there would be a poncho based on some, I guess, leaked artwork or whatever, but and the teaser trailer also had Western music, so we know there's some sort of Western theme to the movie, at least in some way. It's probably not going to be, a huge element to it, I don't know, but the poncho obviously plays into that. I'm actually, going back, just because I thought about it, seeing all the characters, I'm actually okay with them if they did decide that they were going to get rid of some of Bonnie's toys since then, just because, yeah, it is a lot, just way too many characters, it's nice to have it be a little simpler. I don't think any of the toys she got from Andy are gone, which, unless I don't think, but like, you can't have Toy Story without those guys, they're too iconic, they're too much part of it. Oh, that's a fun detail. If you notice behind Woody standing there when he comes in, the clouds drawn on the chalkboard, or like Andy's wallpaper, that's a cute touch. A little on the nose again, if you notice it, but that is pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. It's a handkerchief. So that's just like a real sized version of what's already around his neck. That's, man, he looks kind of cute like that.
Why are you wearing a dress, Woody? It's called a poncho, Forky.
That part was a little weird. He's bald. Okay. He's a toy. It's not real hair anyways. I don't know. A little silly. Like, I know it's a kids movie, but like, it's the movies, I don't know, they just get a little more goofy than what they started out as, and I get it, they're for kids, but I one of the best things about the first movie is that it works just as much for adults as it does for kids. Like, it's not inappropriate or anything like that, but like, it takes itself very seriously, and it doesn't treat itself like a kids movie. That's why they're voiced by adults, because Toy Story being the first of its kind, being computer animated, they could have easily just been like, let's have the toys voiced by children, or have like voices that sound like little kids, because it's a kids movie. It's like, no, they had them voiced by adults because this movie, the first Toy Story was just meant to be just as much for adults as for kids, which is so brilliant. But like, so it just drives me, I just hate when they put like all these like really childish jokes in some of these movies. I don't know.
Came here as fast as they could. Why are you wearing a dress, Woody?
That reaction to Slinky there, where he looks a little confused. It reminds me of, why are you under the bed, Woody? You know, the way you looked at him there.
It's called a...
Do any of Bonnie's toys have any lines in this? No, because Pixar knows who we care about. We care about the original characters. You know, Bonnie's toys, they're fine, but they're definitely not nearly as well thought of or fleshed out as Andy's toys.
Oh, Forky.
I'm so confused by this bald joke. How is he bald?
Someone needs a brown marker.
Oh, okay, I can see it. Wow. that is kind of funny, I'll say. The paint the paint smeared off of his head. That's pretty funny and a little sad to see Woody like that now. He could just go to the cleaner, you know, have whatever you call him, the guy who fixed him in Toy Story 2, which that guy's probably not even alive at this point, which is weird if you think about it. I don't know, because he was kind of old, you know. Woody without a badge is never not gonna feel wrong, not gonna feel weird. Maybe Jesse will give it back to him. And I see at some point Bonnie had drawn on glasses on Dolly, which is a little amusing. Because, you know, obviously that's something kids do sometimes. They draw on their toys, and, well, that ain't coming out. So she's just got glasses now. Look at that. Look at that. This does feel a little bit of a weird reaction for Buzz to not recognize Woody. Like what? What's that about? Does he just think it's like another Sheriff Woody doll or something? Kind of like how there's a lot of Buzzes. I don't know. A little weird. But I can't complain about it because, oh my goodness. This is what I love to see. This is one of my favorite things about the first Toy Story is the dynamic between Buzz and Woody, their rivalry, and seeing them not, you know, like we love seeing them all buddy, you know. You got a friend in me, you know, to infinity and beyond. We'll always be together until I run away with Bo. But, you know, it's nice to see that because it's like you don't really get many opportunities for moments like this where they get to kind of you know, I don't know, not be like just be, oh, we're all happy, all friendly together, because, you know, obviously after Toy Story 1 they kind of at the end solved it and they're all friends now, so you kind of miss out what was one of the most fun parts of that movie, because, well, the problem was solved, now they're friends. So it's nice when we have little moments where they kind of get to, you know, like this feels like such a Toy Story 1 moment, which, oh, I love it. I come in peace. Love it.
It's been too long, cowboy.
So was Buzz just messing with him? He must have been. Man, that's fun.
What are you, some sort of old man toy?
Old man toy. I didn't like get to fully process everything in the trailer, just watching it once. So I'm like kind of getting some of it now.
She thinks you're old because you're bald.
She thinks you're old because you're bald. That doesn't really make that much sense. You know, maybe because it's a toy that's worn out a little. I mean, he's definitely gone through a lot. I mean, look at him. He's got, you know, he's missing his pull string, which was a terrible direction to go with, to remove his pull string in the last movie, but I have a lot of problems with the last movie. I do like the fourth one, but it is a little frustrating. You know, and he's obviously got his stitching still from Toy Story 2 after losing his arm, and, you know, he's got the bald spot, yeah, so he's been through a little bit. and you can see at this point he has a sticker, a badge just like Buzz, so someone put that on him at that point in the movie. Not sure what that's about. Who's giving badges? That's Bonnie or whatever.
Bunny needs help from someone.
Would Bonnie even know that he's back? Because then she'd be like, oh, where'd he go again if he leaves? I don't know.
At least from the same century.
So this is interesting. We see Jessie and Bullseye hanging out a lot, separate from the other toys. Like she's going on her own adventure, which supposedly, wait, is Bonnie's mom even in this trailer? Where is she? I don't know. She might have been in there. I don't know. But so supposedly, I had heard. I don't know how true it is that Jessie's gonna be the main character. I don't know. Which is so bizarre because of how they treated her in the fourth one. She's barely. Some people probably would be like, "Oh, I don't even remember her being in the fourth one." Like, the most significant thing she did was pop a tire. It's kind of weird, but apparently because Bo was the main female in that one, well, we can't have Jessie do much in that. Which I don't know, a little weird, but so in a way, it is nice to see her back, you know, as like a main character, because she didn't do all that much in 3, you know, she was just kind of part of the gang, and obviously, you know, 2, she did plenty, you know.
We're gonna need backup.
Okay, this part, that shot is cool. Like, that is a sick shot. We got all the buzzes coming out, you know, obviously, you know, a lot of us already knew about there being like an army of buzzes for a while now, in this movie, but yeah, that's really cool, you know, because again, going back to like, Buzz's character thinking he's a spaceman is one of the best things about the first movie, and now we're getting a whole army of that, which, I don't know, could be a lot of fun. We'll have to see how that turns out. Oh, we can see in this shot where they're on the beach that I'm pretty sure that's a carnival. They're running towards, it looks like it, which of course would be where Bo is. Not sure if Woody's there at that point. He's probably with, you know, Andy's, you know, Bonnie's toys at that point. That looks so weird though. It looks so photorealistic, and it's as weird as it may sound, this shot almost, it kind of looks AI. I doubt Pixar used AI for this, but doesn't it feel a little AI? And I think part of it's just the fact that it's like, it's weird seeing a bunch of Buzz Lightyears running on a beach in a Toy Story movie. Like, this just feels so weird. You know, and usually AI, it generates like a lot of the same characters in the same shot because it doesn't know how to, it's not good at always making all unique characters. This shot, they've got all these weapons, like a corkscrew and whatnot. This reminds me so much of like Small Soldiers, like that kind of thing. We can see that the buzzes aren't too different, but they do have some differences. I noticed some like sculpting, some line work on his legs looks a little different. Obviously the light up chest piece. Other than that, it mostly looks the same. Okay. Oh. This is a weird shot. They're in a... Huh. Okay. Where are they? There's like a bunch of toy horses? Are they gonna come alive? Are they alive here? Wow. Okay, this is really interesting. I know where it is. It's in Jessie's owner's room, right? Because I heard a rumor the other day. Oh, it was like I think just last night or something. The other night, I saw this YouTube thumbnail. I didn't watch it, but they're like, I think Jesse's owner might be back in this movie, and just with that in mind, I'm like, well, yeah, that's where we saw these realistic horses. So that's where she is. So hopefully that's not giving away too much for you guys. You know, it's I obviously don't know hardly anything about this movie. You know, so it's not too hard to put together. But that's kind of wild. Yeah, this is an interesting shot. I wonder, are those horses alive? Oh, I think they were moving. That's kind of weird. I mean, they're toys, so I guess it makes sense.
We're gonna need backup.
Oh, maybe that wasn't a carnival. Those are, I see tents now. They're in a camping site. Okay. The whole tech, toys meets tech thing, it makes sense, but it is a little, again, on the nose. Like, this is something that people have been saying Pixar should make as a Toy Story movie for, like, 15 years or something, you know? It's not the most original idea, which is a little sad given that Pixar used to be all about originality. But it works, you know? It's like, that's a good, you know, you can do a lot with that for a Toy Story movie. It's something different, something we haven't done with this before. Wow, that spinning around is funny. Smarty Pants. I know we saw that, and some of the other characters are getting toys made of them that are like actually pretty accurate toys that you can buy, replicas, so that's fun. Guess that's voiced by Conan O'Brien, which is a little random, but you know, I know we saw Toy Story 4, some of the toys voiced by like Carol Burnett and people like that. Some of these shots go by so quick. Okay, so we can see that the Buzz in the middle in this shot is the actual Buzz, which is nice that the other ones are different so you can distinguish between them. Oh man, those new Buzzes feel so AI, it's weird, you know, just because it's like, your brain knows what Buzz looks like, and they're just different enough that they feel wrong. It's weird. Oh, they're also a little metallic. The green paint, it's kind of cool. Is that a skunk? No, it's a pig. I was thinking about like how Bo had that skunk car, so I was thinking I saw a real skunk. Just the way it was paused. Now this shot was awesome. It's just straight up a shot from Toy Story 2, but yeah, it's definitely reanimated, but it looks so much like it, and that's like such a clear indicator that like, yeah, we're definitely going into Jesse's backstory a little bit more, which is fun. And if it wasn't for that shot, you know, I feel like the shot with, you know, where they're in her room with the realistic horses, I feel like that gives away a little bit too much. Like, I feel like that probably shouldn't have been in there. I don't know. But yeah, that's really cool. It is a little weird to have Jesse seemingly be the main character. Like, it's Toy Story. Woody's the main character. That's just how it is, right? Now, one of the things that made, again, the first movie so special is that it wasn't just Woody. You know, technically, if one of them's the main character, I think it's fair to call it Woody, but I think about that one animated interview they did for that movie where, they were interviewing Woody and Buzz, and, the guy's like, so, who's the main character? And, they were saying, like, it's a buddy picture, they're both the main character. Which, again, it's told from Woody's perspective, if any of them's the main one, it's Woody, but technically, the first movie, it's both Woody and Buzz.
I believe it is implied to the audience that I hold Andy's favorite from my first close-up.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. It must hurt to be so wrong.
So, it's a buddy picture?
Yes.
Which is one of the problems with, the further these movies go, Buzz is less and less of a main character, compared to Woody at least. Because I feel like they should have always just kept it as both Woody and Buzz. But I get, again, like, the story of the first movie, it was already told, we already, how do you move on from that, how do you write Buzz into these movies after that? And, it is interesting. And they've always found a way to somehow find a way to get the original Buzz, the Space Ranger Buzz, into each movie. Which is fun, but can be a little, like, a little obvious if you're paying attention, like, oh, they're just putting him in here because we want to see more Space Ranger Buzz. Obviously the second movie, he had the Alice Toy Barn, the utility belt Buzz. And then the third movie, we are just like, oh, okay, Buzz can just go back to that mode if you put him in Spanish mode, which, realistically, if you try to wrap your head around it, it makes no sense. But, of course, toys even existing, talking in the first place, doesn't make any sense. So it's like, we'll just accept it. And then the fourth movie, I guess, they didn't really have him as a Space Ranger at all in that one. But there's a lot of things that the fourth one didn't do that the other movies did, which can be good or bad, depending. So, I don't know. Yeah. Oh my gosh, wow. That's an interesting shot. We got Jesse riding Bullseye and an army of toys. I feel like this gives away so much. Okay, what? Okay, so there's, I think, some of the realistic horses probably in there. And an army of Buzzes, which looks a little funny. So it looks like some of the toys, some of the tech toys are joining them, or fighting with them, which is wild. Which again, it's like, they didn't need to show that's giving away too much. It's one of those things where it's like, you kind of don't want to see trailers anymore, because you don't want to know what happens before you see it. Which is a little frustrating. Yeah, Woody's with them, just kind of hidden in the back a little bit, and that's a little sad. It's like, this is Toy Story, and Woody's being pushed in the background, and Jesse's got to be in the spotlight now. I don't know. It's a little weird. But I can appreciate it in some ways, because it's like, Jesse is a good character, and it is fun to see them do something that we haven't seen before and put so much of a focus on Jesse. My problem isn't that they're doing it, it's more so the why they're doing it, and I think it's a lot to do with, men can't be the lead in movies, that's sexist or something. I don't know. That's how it feels to me, the way they handle, and not to get into race and all that too much, but like, I feel like Disney movies a lot, they're like, oh, we can't have a white Snow White even though her name is Snow White. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a little weird. but I hope that makes sense. It's
You stay here. I'm going with it.
Woody having a poncho feels so much like, oh, well, we just need something to make him look different to sell more toys. Which, you know, him not having a badge and pull a string now isn't different enough, I guess. Which, yeah, it does make me want to buy a Woody doll with a poncho, to be honest. It's so sad that Thinkway Toys went out of business a few years ago, which is crazy to think about. It's like, imagine if they brought back the Toy Story collection line, because we still got Toy Story collection for Toy Story 4, but imagine if we got that for this one and we got, you know, Woody with a poncho. That'd be so sick.
I think I can do it.
This part made me so happy. This one might have been the best part of the trailer for me. Seeing them holding on to the back of a car, just so reminiscent of Toy Story 1. And again, I like when they do things new, but when they call back to things like that, because it's like, well, realistically, why can't they still have moments like that where they're, you know, trying to catch up and grab onto cars, you know what I mean? So this was just such an awesome moment, just felt like such a callback, and it's just so fun and exciting. Nice poncho. You know, see, that's fun, you know, them not just being all perfect buddy-buddy, but, you know, being human and, you know, having human interactions and not everything, oh, we're always so happy, you know, like actually, like, arguing a little bit.
It's good to see them fighting again.
And that right there is why I wanted to make this video. That, like, there was already a lot I wanted to say, but once I heard that, I'm like, whoa. What the heck? Hold on. It took me a second to, like, process that. I'm like, wait a minute. That wasn't Don Rickles. You know, because obviously in the fourth movie, they had him say, like, a couple lines, you know, hardly anything at all, but they used archival footage to reuse Don Rickles' voice. And I guess at this point, they're like, there's only so much we can pull from archival footage. Because the problem with the fourth movie, it was just kind of obvious, if you knew at least. Because it's like, they didn't have a way to have him say new lines, you know, that actually fit with Toy Story 4 specifically. You know, it wasn't possible for Mr. Potato Head to say, like, oh, hi, Forky, you know. He had to just be like, hey, watch it, buddy, which was taken directly from, I believe, the Toy Story collection toy, which is really fun, because that's one of his lines there. And so that was, like, probably, like, an unused take or something. Maybe even it was an actual used take, I don't know. So that's a lot of fun. So I don't know who's voicing him. I did not look into it yet, because I just watched the trailer and was like, I gotta start recording. This is exciting.
All right. Get a move on here, folks. There's nothing to see here, not unless your age is 3 and up. It says it on my box, ages 3 and up. Get out of here, you uncultured swine. A good soldier never leaves a man behind. Why are you smiling? Why are you laughing? Do I make you laugh? Do I? Do you think I'm a comedian? Well, do you? You've got exactly 3 seconds to wipe that stupid grin off your face.
So that's a little wild. I don't know. Am I crazy? Like, that's definitely not at all the same voice, which feels a little wrong, feels a little weird. I'm okay with it, just because it's like, it just feels a little too zombie-like to just only, it was a little frustrating having him only be just like, oh, he can only talk, like, just barely in the movie, and it doesn't even really fit. You know, you have to, like, kind of just do whatever you have, work with whatever you have. So, and then it keeps going immediately after him, and I think they did this intentionally.
It sure is.
Oh, wait. Never mind. What am I saying? I literally forgot that they replaced Slinky with Blake Clark in Toy Story 3. What am I talking about? I'm like so. That's like how unfocused I am with Toy Story lately. I literally forgot that. I was. In my mind, when I first saw that earlier, when I saw this trailer, I was thinking, wow, they just revealed that they're replacing both their voices. And it's like, what am I talking about? That's still Slinky's voice that they've had, for the past couple movies. I don't know why. It is a little weird that obviously neither of those are either of their original voice actors. A little depressing. But, like, I think they put that very intentionally as the last moment in the trailer, because it's like, that's like a big reveal, honestly. Honestly, might be the biggest reveal, that they're actually not going to keep doing that. They're actually finally replacing his voice, which, again, I think is probably the right move, as long as he sounds close enough to him, which I gotta listen to it again.
Can do it. It's good to see them fighting again.
Yeah. No. that kind of sounds terrible. I do still like that they replaced him, but yeah. It's close enough that it works, but it's definitely not Don Ruckles. It reminds me so much of the frustration I had with Cars 3 Chick Hicks. It's like, oh, it's so exciting. They finally, they brought Chick Hicks back after not being in the second movie. And he sounds nothing like Michael Keaton. And, they just got Bob Peterson, which, he does a decent enough job. He's good at, replicating voices, I guess. But, yeah, it's... Oof. It is a little distracting, a little weird. I'll take it, over just, what they did with the fourth movie, which, it's kind of a win or lose either way. But it's nice to actually have Mr. Potato Head be an actual character again, instead of just like, almost like a robot, So it is interesting. I wonder how many lines he's actually going to end up having in the movie, given that he can actually talk now. And we didn't hear Miss Potato Head in this, but I'm sure they also replaced her voice, which now I'm really curious what she's going to sound like. Yeah, it's interesting. Huh. Man, that is weird. It's nice to see Forky back as kind of a weird of an inclusion as he was to the franchise in the last one. But, at least for continuity, because that's one thing I think is really important for Toy Story especially, in my opinion, is that with each sequel that you stay consistent and you keep that continuity. If you're going to introduce Forky as one of the main characters, then keep him around, So I'm glad he's still here. I'm definitely fine with them not, having a big focus on him again, because, there's not really a story you need to tell with him again, and, it's Toy Story, not Spork Story. But yeah, Ham did have a line in this, didn't he? He said what did he say? I think he did have a line in this. So that's good that John Ratzenberger's back, because I know in, what was it, probably 2020, he, stopped voicing in Pixar movies. I think there might have been some kind of behind-the-scenes falling out with him in Pixar. I'm not really sure. I know at some point he did come back a little bit, but, yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. And I know Ham wasn't in a lot of the, any of the advertising, any of the posters, or even the teaser trailer, but he was in this, promotional standee thing. That was pretty cool. That was just shown pretty recently. So, yeah.
It sure is.
I guess why I thought Slinky sounded different was, I guess he just sounds older. It must be all that it is. But, I don't know. Actor's age, In theaters June 19th. Wasn't that wasn't that the exact day that Toy Story 3 came out? I could be completely misremembering that. I know Pixar movies usually come out in June. Why, man, it's weird that I can't remember that. Yeah, so, I don't know. Man, this video's almost been an hour. One of the comments says it's pretty poetic that Jesse is basically experiencing what Woody went through when he first met Buzz. So they are telling the same story again, in a sense. Man, they just keep making the same movie, aren't they? I mean, technically, in a way, you know, obviously it's quite a different way to go about it, but, you know, it is technically the same kind of idea where Buzz replaced Woody. Buzz was the favorite toy, and now this lily pad is now the favorite toy, replacing Jessie, which Jessie was definitely not her favorite toy before, but I don't know. I guess she did like Jessie, which makes sense, you know, from what I remember. Someone said Pixar knowing we are watching this trailer on our phones and some kids on their iPads. Oh man, that's wild. Jessie is now reliving her old trauma with Bonnie. Alright, this video's gone on a while, but if anyone, you know, stuck around this long to listen to me ramble on about my thoughts about the Toy Story 5 trailer, thank you. It's been very interesting, to say the least. I was like, I don't know, you know, before I watched, I'm like, I don't know if I'll really have much to say about it. You know, it'll probably just kind of be like, oh, here it is, another Toy Story movie, you know, about what we expect. You know, there's a iPad kind of thing, you know, just kind of that they're afraid of. It's like, oh, what do you do with that? And it's like, oh, there's a lot to say about this trailer. Mr. Potato Head actually has a voice again, and they're doing this weird Spider-Verse inspired thing, which again isn't going to be much of the movie. I would certainly hope not. But if they do it just for the Bonnie playing sequence, I think that works just fine. And they were supposed to have a sequence of her playing with toys, you know, a lot like the other movies before it, with Andy playing with toys, where they show this fantasy sequence that was deleted, which part of me wishes they kept it, because, you know, it's just another one of those things where Toy Story 4 just changes it, where it's like it's not really being consistent with the other movies. You know, it just feels like they're not really paying attention to the old movies before it when they're writing it. And, you know, but at the same time, that deleted scene we saw of them like working at a grocery store was kind of dumb anyways, so I can't be too mad at it. You know, it's probably deleted for a reason. But I also just gotta say this. I know this is long, but I love to see Buzz being a well-written character again. Oh my goodness, that might be my favorite thing ever about anything that's happened in Toy Story in a while. Like, Buzz feels like an actual character again, at least based on the little we saw here. But like that moment of him being like, nice poncho, like that just feels like a real character, instead of being like, inner voice, what do I do? Oh, you know, your backpack's left at the antique store, let's go. It's like, it's so dumb. Buzz was the worst, written so bad in the fourth movie. I just cannot get over that. I'll never get over that. It's so frustrating. There's so much frustration from that. Randy Newman, I wonder if he's still around, right? Wonder if has any involvement with this, writing any music for the soundtrack, and if he'll do at least like a song like he did I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away for the fourth one, And man, I cannot think. The one at the end of the third one, we belong together. Yes, we do. How could I forget? You know, obviously, You Got a Friend in Me and all the other songs. What did he do for the second one? He didn't. That's right. That was one of the weird things about the second one. He didn't have any, or there was no Randy Newman music, was there? I mean, obviously, aside from bringing back You Got a Friend in Me, because of course you do. That is kind of weird. There wasn't, was there? Huh. That is weird. Huh. Yeah, so, anyways, a lot of crazy things about this trailer. I'm looking forward to it. Most I'm excited about is seeing Buzz and Woody's dynamic, you know, them interacting. Because that's what I think really sells the first Toy Story, what makes it as good as it is their character together, their interactions. So, anyways, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this. Again, I don't really do much with Rare Toy Story anymore, but for this, I gotta make an exception. You know, it's a special occasion. It's a big deal with Toy Story. You know, 7 years since the last one. That's insane. I can't wrap my head around that. 2019, just how was that long ago? It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense, because it was like just like last night I saw like randomly in my recommended this video of they're like from 7 years ago. Like a news thing about, oh, there's gonna be Toy Story 4 ice cream hitting the shelves this summer. It's like, from 7 years ago. What? I had to do a double take. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. But anyways, thank you for checking this out. And because this is so important to me, I do gotta share this with you guys. I know not everyone wants to hear it, but Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and he does love you so very much. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4 is the gospel of how you can be saved. And Romans 10, 9 through 10 tells us that if you declare with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe, and with your tongue that you confess that Jesus is Lord and are saved. And it says after, you know, that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. And what is it? Jeremiah 29:13 tells us, it's my favorite verse in the whole Bible. It says that if you believe in me with, if you seek me, you will find me. If you seek me with your whole heart, you will find me. Oh man, I'm butchering that terribly. Go look up Jeremiah 29:13 for me, please, because I'm I'm kind of all over the place right now. My thoughts are everywhere. But just know that Jesus is the only way to heaven, and he's waiting for you. He loves you more than anything. And I know it's like, what does that have to do with Toy Story? And Jesus has to do with everything, you know. He's all that matters. If you don't have him, you don't have hope. And I just want to bring you hope. I just want to bring you the peace that I have. I was a mess before truly turning to Jesus. He has helped me so much. And it's not going to make your life perfect, but we're going to be raptured soon. And once that happens, the world is going to be in chaos for 7 years, and most of the world's going to die. And there's going to be a mark that they're going to implement in your right hand or forehead that you have to take, or else you will not be allowed to buy or sell, which basically means you're going to starve to death. And if you don't, you know, if you love Jesus, if you're Christian, they're going to behead people, and it's going to be insane. And there's just going to be so much 100-pound hailstones falling from the sky. 1/3 of the grass is going to be burnt up. just to name some of it. You know, it's insane. I know that's heavy. I know that's a lot, but it is coming. It's very imminent. I believe it could be this year. I don't know the day or hour, but if you want, ever since kind of pretty much being done with Rare Toy Story, I have been, I started a TikTok account that I post about. I always talk about Jesus every day on there. That's because I was always talking about Toy Story every day, and I wanted to put my focus on God after I started truly following him a few years back. And if you would like to follow me, my TikTok account is DJ Curb, DJAYCRB. And if you have any questions and you'd like to know anything, feel free to reach out to me and let me know where you're from, you know, that you're from this video, so that might help me get an idea. You know, I do kind of get a lot of messages, so I don't always check them, which I feel bad about. It's just a little overwhelming. But if you let me know that you're wanting to know about God, then I would absolutely love to tell you more. If you want a Bible, I can send you one. You could, you know, at least right now, you can still access the Bible online until, you know, they'll probably, I'm sure, you know, soon they'll make it illegal. But at least for now, you can go to BibleGateway.com, or you can go to, like, there's the YouVersion Bible app. Of course, the problem with that is if they end up changing it, you know, which would be really bad. Again, I know this isn't what everyone wants to hear, but it's so important, and that's the most loving thing I can do for you. You know, I'm not forcing it. I'm not trying to push it on anyone. I'm just offering it if you want it. You know, I just care about you guys. I don't want to see anyone die. There's so much I could say. You know, I just somehow spent a whole hour talking about Toy Story. I could spend another 24 hours talking about Jesus and not be tired and just keep going. But, you know, he really does love you, and he does have a plan for you. If you feel lost and hopeless and you're not sure what the meaning of life is, Jesus is the meaning of life. And I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't know that in my heart. If I didn't see, I haven't seen God physically with my own eyes, but I've seen him in so many other ways. He's talked to me through dreams and visions, in so many things. It's so much that most probably would just laugh, just make fun of me and say I'm crazy. And I'm just trying to tell you there's a car coming for you, and I want you to move out of the way or you'll die. I just want to protect you. I just want you to be safe. I care about you. Eternity is way too long to be wrong about it. I posted here on this account, when was that, a year or two ago, a video called Eternity. Again, it's not a Toy Story video. It's about Jesus. If you'd like, you're welcome to check that video out. I had made it for my church, you know, to play at a service one time, you know, a couple years ago. I'm really proud of that video. I think it turned out really nice. But, yeah, I think, you know, if you seek Jesus, you will find him. That's his promise to you. It's his promise. And I care about you guys so much. Hell isn't a party. It is real and it is forever, but so is heaven. Hell is nothing but weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's it. There is no relief of pain. There is no partying with friends. You'll never feel more alone in a place like that. And I know people can be like, oh, don't fearmonger. It's like, I'm just, the truth doesn't stop being the truth if I don't tell you. So it's better that I tell you that there's a car coming for you, so I can give you the chance to say, oh, all I need to do is step out of the way. And you do that simply by accepting and believing in your heart that Jesus really is God, that Jesus is Lord, that He is the only way to heaven. If you seek Him, you will find Him. All you gotta do to find Him is ask Him. That's how you seek Him. You just say, God, please, I want to know you. If this is real, then I need you. I admit that I'm a sinner. I admit that I'm damned to hell without you. I accept your free gift of salvation, paid for by your perfect God blood, your sinless, perfect blood on the cross that you shed for me. I don't deserve it, but you did that for me. You know, because people say that, oh, why would a loving God send anyone to hell? We deserve it. We're all born sinners. That's the thing. And even though we actually do deserve hell, God loves us so much that He took the payment for us. He took that punishment of hell for us. He died for us on the cross and was gone for 3 days and rose again on the third day, fulfilling prophecy, doing exactly as He promised He would. And there is more documented evidence of Jesus being alive on this earth 2,000 years ago than any other historical figure from that long ago. He's real. In His 12 disciples, 11 of them were brutally murdered for not denying Jesus. No one dies for a lie. And there's so much documented evidence that verifies it. Even atheist scholars will laugh at someone for saying that Jesus wasn't a real person. Of course He was. But, I know this is a lot. I know this is heavy. But I couldn't not tell you because I cared so much for your soul, and we're out of time. His return is imminent. Imminent. You can still be saved during the tribulation that starts after the rapture, which could happen any day now. But if you take the mark, you can't be saved after that. You will go to hell the moment you take the mark, if you do. Which I don't know exactly how that all works. If you stop becoming fully human after that, I don't really know. There's only so much I can tell you, but all I know is that you cannot be saved if you take the mark. So whatever you do, do not take it. And seek Jesus with all your heart if you're still here during the tribulation. Because people like me will be raptured. God will have protected us. We'll be in heaven at that point, so we won't be here to help you. If you're looking for us, if you're trying to message us, if that's even possible. I don't know how, if they'll take down communication or whatever during that time. I don't know. But, there will be 144,000 Jews that get saved during the tribulation. Maybe even more than that, but I know it specifically says 144,000 that will be preaching the gospel, I believe, from what I understand. So if you can get a hold of someone like that, they can help you. But yeah, you need Jesus. If you have a Bible, hold it so tightly, hold it so closely. Don't let them take it away from you. Hide it if you're here during the tribulation, because your answers are all in that book. I personally read a lot, often the NLT Bible. I think it may not be perfect, but it's easier to understand than some of them. I think the most accurate, the best is probably the KJV Bible. But yeah, Jesus, He loves you so much. I can't stress that enough. And I know I'm still going on talking about this, but I can't shut up about Jesus. He has transformed my heart. I had made Toy Story an idol. That's all I cared about. That's all I talked about. I spent every day for hours and hours and hours each day on Instagram, just always making posts and just always making my life about Toy Story and always trying to collect as much Toy Story stuff as I could. And it was wrong. It was an idol. An idol is anything you put above God. I had made that a priority over God. And it was wrong. And he convicted me of that. And so I had to step away from that. And he didn't say it's not that Toy Story itself is wrong. So I'm still allowed to like it. But it can't be an idol. God says he's a jealous God. And you can't have idols before him. That's wrong. I have enough fear and respect, reverence for God to listen to him in that. You know. And again, I think this might go over some people's heads that maybe you've never heard a church sermon in your life and you just don't know half of what I'm even saying right now, and that's okay. It's a lot. And you don't have to accept it, but it is the only way to live eternal life in perfect peace in God's kingdom in heaven. He loves you. There's nothing too sinful that you've done that he will not forgive. But you do have to ask him for forgiveness. You do have to turn to him. You do have to want to live for him, right? You do have to know that Jesus is Lord and declare that. You know. So I pray this reaches the right people. You know, whoever needs to hear this, because it is so important. You know, I would not be saying this if it wasn't that important, because this kind of thing would be so hard for me to say before, because it is so, because I know there are people that just think it's ridiculous, and they just mock you and laugh at you and make fun of you, and it hurts so bad, and I don't want that. But I care more about your soul than my feelings, that I'm worth, that I'm willing to put your soul, the priority of you being able to know Jesus over you potentially hurting me. That's true love right there. Again, I know this is so heavy. I know this is so much. It's like, what? I just came here for Toy Story. And, you know, that's why I wasn't planning on talking this much about it, but, you know, that's why I put it at the end of this video, because, well, if you just want Toy Story, you can have it. You know, I'm not gonna try to, I don't know, manipulate you and just say this is a Toy Story video, but it's actually about Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna tell you this is about Toy Story, it is. You know, but I'm also allowed to share this because it's so important. You know, so I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I've gone through some pretty heavy things recently. Just, what day is today? The 20th now? Yeah. Just over a month ago, I lost my mom, and that was rough. But she loved Jesus so much, and I know where she is. And I spoke at her service, her funeral, and what I said to this huge crowd, because there were so many people that loved her. It felt like the whole town was there. The whole huge room was packed. There was, I don't know, 150, 200 people in there. I don't know, but I stood out in front of them when it was my turn to talk, to say something about my mom, and I told them that today, that she wanted the gospel preached at every service because it was that important. And I told them flat out that today is the day of salvation, that tomorrow is not promised. And now my mom knows that more than any of us in this room. It's that important. It's that important, guys. I don't know. I could just go on and on and on. Like, I mean, seriously, Jesus is my whole life. I'm obsessed with him. He's all I care about. He's all I love. And I really can't stress enough that without him, there is nothing. You will never find satisfaction in things, in anything in this world if you don't have Jesus. Nothing matters. It's all going to become dust soon. Nothing we own matters. This doesn't matter. It's fun to have hobbies, but this doesn't matter. Jesus is all that matters. Things in this world, a life without Jesus will eventually, soon enough, just leave you feeling lost and hopeless and empty. I want to bring you hope. I want to bring you love. I want you to have what I have, because my life has truly been transformed. If you don't believe me, go look up testimonies of people whose lives have been radically changed by Jesus. People who were the worst people. They're completely different. In God, in the Bible, he says you're literally born again. You are no longer that old person. He literally changes you. It's amazing. It's so beautiful. How can you explain it? It's supernatural. You know, people today in these last days, everyone wants something supernatural. They want to believe in the most crazy things except for Jesus. Somehow that's too crazy. But praying to all these rocks and crystals, all this witchcraft, all this evil stuff, they think, oh, that makes sense. But Jesus, no, that's too far. It doesn't make sense. But anyways, I don't know how to end this. I just care about you guys. If you want, again, my TikTok, you can reach me on there and you can watch my videos. I have testimonies. Like, I talk about all these amazing dreams that God's given me on there. It's DJAYCRB. And I also have a YouTube channel that I essentially just use to repost my stuff from TikTok, and that's called That Wasn't the End. You know, if you type That Wasn't the End, you might be able to find it, or type That Wasn't the End Rapture, you know, because that's what I heavily focus on, is Rapture, end time stuff. Yeah. I know this probably is so weird for you guys. You're like, this is not at all what I was expecting. This is so weird, but you may have needed to hear this. This may have been for you specifically. God may be calling out to you. This may be his way of telling you, of calling you home. Maybe you've known this for some time. You've just been waiting. Maybe you felt like you weren't worthy, that you didn't deserve it, and technically none of us do, but that's the point. That's why we need him, because we can't do this by ourselves. We need Jesus to pay for us, because the only way into a perfect heaven is to be sinless, and we're not capable of being sinless. Only a perfect God can be sinless, and that's why Jesus, being God, came in the flesh, could have been the only one to pay for us. That's why he's God. That proves he's God. He is Emmanuel, meaning God is with us. When he was in the manger, they called him that, Emmanuel. You know, if you didn't hear it from the Bible, you've probably heard it from Charlie Brown. It's amazing, you know, how media used to actually talk about Jesus. Now they're afraid of it, afraid of the truth of the gospel. It scares them, right? But believe it or not, there was once a time where you would get stuff like Charlie Brown, where they're just straight up telling you about Jesus being born in a manger in Bethlehem, being Emmanuel, God with us. Isn't that amazing? Alright, I'm really going to end this now. Okay, Jesus is coming soon. Repent, please. Today is the day of salvation. John 3:16 through 21. Please read it. Please check this out. Just please pray to God. Okay? Something. Just do something. Alright, thank you. Thank you. God bless you guys. Peace.